Perfect. Well, first of all, huge thanks to you guys for taking the time out of your day to watch your presentation. My team, the Empath Titans, was most passionate about Prompt 3, which was creating the future of virtual events with Emotion AI. And our solution to this problem was ultimately EffectoBot, which we'll be telling you about today. And before we get right into EffectoBot, I first want to introduce myself and my fellow teammates. So my name's Mikey. I am a high school student. I go by he, him, his pronouns, and I'm really passionate about the intersection between emerging technologies and mental health.
Hi everyone, my name is Adar Tulla. I am a second year college student at Oberlin College and Conservatory. I'm really passionate about computer science and programming and its intersection with social justice.
Hi everyone, I'm Roshan. I'm a rising high school senior. I really enjoy programming and machine learning, especially for social good. And I'm super excited to show you all what we've been making.
Hi everyone, I'm Jaleesa. I'm a rising sophomore at Lafayette College. I am currently studying chemical engineering and data science. I'm really passionate about energy resources and how we could integrate technology into that. But now I'm going to talk about why my team is so passionate about this project. As a presenter, it is very important for you to see how engaged your audience is. With the current COVID-19 pandemic, most events and conferences are being run on virtual platforms like Google Meet and Zoom. Using Zoom, for example, it is very hard for a presenter to see how engaged his or her audience is, making it difficult for information to be communicated in an understanding and engaging manner. With this problem at hand, imagine a Zoom plugin that gives real-time feedback to a presenter during their presentation and after their presentation. Imagine a more engaging presenter-audience interaction during a Zoom call. I'm talking about imagining how valuable this project would be to the Zoom Virtual Summit 2020. Now, in order to know more about this project, we decided to do market research. After creating a survey filled by 50 Zoom users, we realized that 98% of the people realized that this Zoom plugin would enhance their Zoom experiences. In addition to that, we talked to keynote speakers like Isabella, for example, who mentioned that she would love to emotionally connect with her audience.
Yeah, and similarly, Ria emphasized how important it is to maintain interactive presentations, especially when online.
Thanks, Roshan. And after gathering all this information, we thought that this is a problem we should work on.
Yeah, so exactly as Jaleesa and Roshan were saying, we came to a problem, and that's that it's difficult for speakers to engage their audience virtually and to actually establish an emotional connection virtually. So we broke this problem down into three main categories, the first being attention, and that it's difficult for a speaker to gauge the attention and engagement of their audience in a virtual setting. And this is also tied to the second part of the problem, which is that it's difficult to create an emotional connection virtually. And this is largely because in a virtual setting, the speaker can actually see all of the audience members. And the third part is feedback. The speaker can't actually get any feedback from the audience. You can imagine that at an in-person event, the speaker would be able to see everybody's faces. And maybe if it's a technical presentation and the audience is confused, then they could adjust their presentation accordingly. So with this problem in mind, we decided to create our friend EffectoBot. And EffectoBot is powered by artificial intelligence, and he gives live updates on the level of attention, emotion, and engagement in any virtual setting.
Great, so now that Mikey has sort of introduced us to EffectoBot, I'd like to talk directly about the Zoom plugin itself and what EffectoBot will be providing to its users. So if I'm an audience member, for instance, I'll have a couple of options available here. One is I'll be able to give real-time updates. And what we mean by this is having a way for audience members to collectively gauge how they're feeling currently about a speaker. This is something that's not available with a virtual setting, as audience members can't really see each other. Second, we'll have a chat and feedback box here where audience members can type directly the reaction to what the speaker is saying, and this will be compiled for our own usage later to present to the speaker. And third, we'll also have directly built into the user interface, we'll have emoji reactions, right? So if if a speaker says something really funny, I can react with using a laughing face emoji. And this is a way to encourage audience members to really engage with the speaker and provide this live feedback that we want.
Yeah, so like Adar said, EffectiveBot provides these multiple options to help engage the audience, but ultimately this is the speaker's job. And that's why EffectiveBot has several features to allow speakers to best captivate their audience. First off, EffectiveBot provides the speaker with real-time audience engagement updates. And yeah, I know when I'm on a Zoom call, it's hard to look at more than like 1 or 2 people at a time. And so EffectiveBot tries to solve this by just providing a simple to read metrics. On top of this, EffectiveBot provides real-time presentation suggestions. For example, let's say I look away from the camera. EffectiveBot would just give a friendly reminder for me to remember to make eye contact with the audience again. And it's really these small things which make a presentation great. And then finally, EffectiveBot gives end of presentation summary with metrics from the whole call. And this is really just for the speaker to see how their whole presentation went, and so that they know how they can improve in the future. So without further ado, let us take a look at EffectiveBot.
All right, EffectiveBot's time to shine.
So welcome to the Affectiva Emotion AI Summit of 2020. Reaching the summit is as easy as entering the URL into any browser, and then bam, here we are. As you can see, I'm the speaker right here, and Adar is my audience. So as we mentioned earlier, we have these live engagement updates. So for example, say I smile, the emoji would change accordingly. And let's say, for example, I'm getting distracted and I look away somewhere. Well, great, EffectiveBot just gave me a suggestion to look back into the camera. With all of this in mind, let's now take a look at what the audience sees.
Thank you, Roshan. So as Roshan just demonstrated, that is what the speaker will see from his or her perspective. There are a couple of interesting elements here, but let's say I'm an audience member for this demo. I'm simulating being in the audience. There's a couple of key features here that we built into the user interface. So towards the left here, we have a little chart that is gauging the collective attention, emotion, and engagement of fellow audience members. We also have to the right, let's say Roshan says a really funny joke, I can react appropriately and use the laughing emoji here. And these are just ways for the audience to really provide that live feedback that isn't possible, virtually. Great. So now that we showed those two pieces, I want to bring us back to the third element, which is EffectiveBot's report. After a Zoom meeting has finished and the speakers have concluded, EffectiveBot, from sitting in the audience virtually, will be able to compile a couple of key metrics that we think will be super useful for speakers. To the left here, we have percentages. So maybe, X% of your audience was paying attention and was really engaged from looking at the textual data that the audience has also put forward. We can say that X% was really positive according to the sentiment analysis. In the middle, we sort of have a chart that is graphing different emotions over the duration of the entire meeting. As you can see, we have attention, we have joy, we have anger. And then to the right, based on what the user has said, or based on what Zoom audience members have said, we can even compile a list of most commonly occurring words. So this is just one more way EffectiveBot is providing helpful information to the speaker that they can use to tailor and improve their own performance for the next meeting they may have.
Thank you, Adar, for mentioning the technical aspect of EffectiveBot. EffectiveBot could be used as well to raise revenue. Our main audience for EffectiveBot are innovative tech conferences, for example, Affectiva Virtual Summit 2020. But in addition to that, EffectiveBot will be very helpful in other platforms like education. Affectobot will be helpful for professors and high school teachers that are trying to engage their students. In addition to that, Affectobot will be very helpful for telehealth visits, for a doctor and patient conversation, for example, because Affectobot would enable a doctor to know how much pain their patient is going through. Affectobot would be very helpful for a comedian who has the main goal to engage their audience, because that would help the comedian to achieve their goals.
Yeah, so as Delisa was saying, our main target audience right now is innovative tech conferences. So now with that in mind, let's look at our team's competitive advantages in the competitive landscape. So there are currently no to minimal direct competitors using emotion AI in the same way that we are. However, this doesn't mean that other emotion AI companies could be our indirect competitors or potentially try to copy or do something similar to our project. However, our competitive advantage with this is that this project is lucky enough to be affiliated with the most successful emotion AI company, Affectiva. And we are aware of Affectiva's large and very expansive network that we'd love to be able to leverage to be able to get Affectobot in the hands of speakers at different events like Web Summit Collision. And also, thirdly, and really important, is that the time to do this is now. With the coronavirus and a lot of different events moving virtual, the demand for this type of technology is very high.
So I just had a chat with Affectobot, and he told me that all of you are super interested. So let's talk about the future steps. First off, we need to finish the software development of Affectobot. Today you saw the Zoom view of the audience and the speaker. We just need to make sure that these two are seamlessly integrated. After this, we need to fully set up our backend and potentially explore adding Affectobot to other platforms as well, such as WebEx or Google Meet. Today you saw that Zoom and the Affectiva SDK were already totally integrated. And the final part of software development would be making sure that it's truly accessible on all platforms, whether that be Windows, Mac, iOS, Android, just so that everyone who wants Affectobot can use it. After all the software development is complete, we would be marketing and selling to the big tech conferences, as Mikey mentioned, such as Web Summit Collision, and hopefully the Affectiva 2020 Emotion AI Summit. Though in the future, we really hope to expand into other markets, as Julissa mentioned earlier. The possibilities are truly endless with Affectobot. It can be used in telehealth and also like just all virtual conferencing software. So yeah.
So while Roshan just quickly detailed our future plans, I want to just circle back in our original business plan and detail this executive summary here. So we started off with a problem, right? We have these affectless virtual events where speakers aren't really able to engage emotionally with their audience in the way they were before in physical settings. We saw that as an opportunity, and from there we built Affectobot, our friendly Zoom plugin that is using machine learning to provide speakers with this emotional connection. And that's pretty much our outcome. We want a way to build that gap that we noticed. And we thought through Affectobot, we were able to solve this problem really well.
Yeah, so thanks so much for listening to our presentation. We'd love to answer your questions and discuss further implementation.